The story opens with a woman named Tilly arriving at a small town called Dungatar. She's returned as an accomplished dressmaker after the town people exiled her 25 years ago. Before entering her old house, Tilly encounters Sergeant Farrett, who has brought her luggage. The two have a quick conversation, and Farrett admires Tilly's dress before he leaves. Upon entering the house, Tilly sees it's a filthy mess. It turns out that after she was exiled, her mother Molly lost her marbles and has lived alone ever since then. Although Tilly has returned to Dungatar to care for her sickly mother, she has another intention. While she was accused of murder back then, she can't actually recall what happened that fateful day. She tries to ask Molly about it, but the old lady can't even remember her own daughter. The next day, Tilly makes her mother take a bath while cleaning the entire house. The town folks later see her burning piles of trash in front of their house. They finally learn she's returned, and none of them seem to be happy about it. During Dungatar's football match later that week, Tilly suddenly arrives in a stunning red dress to watch the game with Molly. Her outfit distracts the boys, so their team captain Teddy confronts her about it. Tilly walks away after Teddy explains how important the game is to them. She changes into a black dress, which is even more stunning than the one she had before. She also finds a childhood friend, Gertrude, sulking alone. Gertrude likes a good-looking and prosperous man named William. However, she struggles to catch his attention because of her mediocre looks and fashion sense. Tilly senses Gertrude's desires and offers to make a dress that she can wear for the footballers' dance party on the weekend. Gertrude doesn't believe a dress can change anything, but Tilly tells her to watch and learn. Tilly returns to the football field and flaunts her dress. It distracts the opposing team so much that the Dungatar boys easily snatch a victory. After the match, Tilly and Molly visit an old lady named Irma. Tilly gives her a box of chocolate as thanks for sending food to her mother all those years. After that, Tilly sees the school where a boy named Stuart died many years ago. She visits it and recalls how Stuart mistreated her when she was young and how she climbed the windmill to hide from him. She also recalls asking for Gertrude's help, but the girl simply walked away. When Tilly finally climbs down the windmill later, Stuart quickly covers her mouth and catches her. He drags her to a corner, presses her against a wall, and threatens to end her and Molly's lives. Unfortunately, even if she recalls most of what happened, Tilly struggles to remember how Stuart actually died. She also tries to make Molly remember what happened later that night, but nothing comes of it. Then, out of nowhere, Gertrude arrives, asking Tilly to design a dress for her to wear to the dance. Tilly agrees, but in exchange, she asks Gertrude if she told Stuart that she was hiding at the windmill back then. Gertrude says she did, and it's to protect herself from him. Tilly bumps into Teddy the next day, and he starts flirting with her. He also invites her to the footballers' dance party, but she declines because she's busy. In the evening, Farrett arrives at Tilly's house with a package. He tells her that he's required by law to inspect the package. Given Tilly's background, Farrett goes through the fabrics in the package, and his feminine side starts leaking while he does. It turns out that Farrett secretly loves designing and sewing women's clothes. He even seems to enjoy wearing them. Work queen. Farrett then confesses that he exiled Tilly because the town councillor and Stuart's father Evan knew about his secret. Evan threatened to expose his drag persona if he didn't send her away. Surprisingly, Tilly doesn't get angry at Farrett. Instead, she thanks him for his honesty. The two then quickly become friends because of their passion for designer clothes. During the footballers' dance party, the dress Tilly designed for Gertrude catches the attention of everyone attending, including William. While that happens, Teddy takes Tilly and Molly to see a movie. When they are done, he takes them home and gets invited to stay for tea. Tilly and Teddy finally talk, and she tells her about the many countries she went to work in during her exile. She also expresses how upset she is about the town folks hating her and Molly for the death of Stuart. Teddy consoles her and says the town folks are ruthless. He shares that they even tried to send his brother Barney away simply because he was different. Eventually, Teddy confesses his feelings for Tilly, which makes her walk away, saying she has to put Molly to bed. The next day, several women impressed by Gertrude's transformation during the dance ask Tilly to make them a dress too. It doesn't take long for the entire town to fall in love with Tilly's dressmaking skills. Eventually, another dressmaker named Una arrives in town. She was hired by Evan, who is jealous of Tilly and wants to end her business. However, his plan fails when Gertrude decides she wants Tilly to make her wedding dress since the one Una made for her was awful. Teddy later tells Tilly that her skills are wasted in their town, especially since the people loathe her. He suggests they leave the place and run away together. As they talk, their faces get closer, and Teddy tries to kiss her. However, despite wanting to kiss him too, Tilly suppresses her true feelings, saying she's cursed. Sometime later, William, who is about to get married to Gertrude, asks Teddy to be his best man, and he agrees. Teddy later visits Tilly to ask her to make a suit he could wear to the wedding. While taking measurements, the two end up kissing after getting too close. At Evan's home, Una is devastated that all her customers are gone because of Tilly. Evan consoles her, and Una asks him to make love with her, revealing they actually have an affair. Marigold, Evan's wife, accidentally catches them through the window. She decides to visit Tilly and asks her for a dress. During that time, Tilly learns that Marigold thinks Stuart fell from a tree and isn't aware of the rumors that Tilly took his life. She also discovers that the school teacher, Beulah, was apparently the only witness to the incident. Tilly immediately suspects that Beulah lied about what happened and immediately meets with Farrett. She bribes her with luxurious fabrics in exchange for Beulah's witness testimony. Tilly later confronts Beulah for giving false testimony as a witness. Beulah eventually admits that she wasn't present during the incident. It turns out that she lied about everything because she was afraid of Evan. When Tilly leaves, Beulah immediately goes to the wedding to tell Marigold how Stuart died. Tilly also arrives at the wedding and immediately tells Farrett about Beulah's false statement. She also questions Farrett about how Evan had the right to send her away, and he reveals that Evan had parental rights. It turns out that he was Tilly's father all along. Suddenly, Marigold breaks down and starts accusing Tilly of murdering her son. Tilly tries to explain, but Evan starts yelling at her. This causes Teddy to get mad and almost get into a full-blown scuffle with Evan. Devastated, Tilly begs Farrett to tell everyone she didn't murder Stuart. Unfortunately, he says he can do nothing since everyone in town, except Tilly, has an alibi. Tilly storms out of the venue, with Molly, Teddy, and Barney following behind her. Barney then starts hysterically saying that Tilly moved and that he saw Stuart do it to himself. Teddy later takes Tilly to the schoolhouse and makes her recall the tragic incident. He then comforts her and says she didn't kill Stuart. He reminds her that Stuart had a habit of pretending to be a bull and ramming other children in their stomachs. Tilly remembers moving when Stuart tried to do that to her that day. As a result, the boy hits his head on the wall and breaks his neck, resulting in his death. Teddy adds that Barney witnessed everything but was afraid to speak up because everyone might say he lost his marbles. Tilly bursts into tears after learning the truth, and Teddy comforts her. They end up making love and spending the night together. The two eventually go to the silo to stargaze. During that time, Teddy proposes, but again, Tilly hesitates, saying she's cursed. Teddy says he doesn't believe in curses, and to prove that curses aren't real, he jumps into the silo. Unfortunately, the silo was filled with sorghum that day and not wheat. As a result, Teddy suffocates and loses his life. Tilly later helps Teddy's mother prepare him for the funeral. Sadly, the town folks don't allow her to attend his funeral. Several days later, Molly goes to the grocery, where she finds the town's women blaming Tilly for Teddy's death and calling her cursed. Enraged, Molly says that Teddy lost his life trying to prove his love for Tilly was stronger than the town folks' hate. When she gets home, Molly finds Tilly in bed, still sulking after Teddy's death, and tries to help her get back on her feet. She also tells Tilly about her past with Evan. She says she met Evan when she was 20 and got pregnant. She didn't want to marry him because he only wanted a son. When she couldn't fulfill his wish, Evan discarded her and married Marigold instead because of her wealth. The next day, Gertrude and her mother-in-law visit Tilly and ask her to make costumes for their upcoming play. Tilly declines their request, saying she'd rather lose her life than make costumes for them. When they leave, Molly encourages Tilly to use her amazing dressmaking skills against the town folks. She also says that she has a plan for her. Molly later visits Irma and asks her to drop a letter at the post office. It seems she's sending a letter to the opposing team for the drama competition in Tilly's stead. Molly thinks the town folks won't send her letter if she drops it herself, so she's asking for Irma's help. Before leaving, Molly gives Irma a box of hash brownies, extra strong. Sadly, Molly suffers a stroke on her way home and loses her life. Depressed, she spends a night drinking heavily with Farrett. Drunk, Tilly decides her record player needs some fresh air and throws it outside. She unknowingly drops it on Beulah, who is trying to eavesdrop on them. The next day, Farrett sends Beulah on a train to Melbourne. She thinks she will get her injuries treated, but she doesn't know that Farrett is actually sending her to an asylum. Following that, the town chemist who mistreated Tilly as a child also passes away. He drowns in a pond after Irma, who is too high because of Molly's hash brownies, fails to stop him from diving headfirst into it. When the chemist's assistant checks the cookies, she realizes it's from Tilly's house. She and the rest of the town immediately blame her for it. However, Farrett steps in this time to defend Tilly. He takes the blame for the brownies and gets exiled from the town. The day after, Tilly visits Marigold and exposes Evan's extramarital affairs. As a result, when Evan returns home later that day, an enraged Marigold cuts his legs and leaves him to bleed. Meanwhile, the opposing team for the drama competition arrives at Tilly's doorstep. They show Tilly her supposed letter, and she realizes that Molly was the one that sent it. She agrees to work with them and help them win the competition. A few days later, the town folks leave Dungatar for the drama competition. They quickly realize that it was Tilly that made their opponents' costumes. While that happens, Tilly prepares to leave her house. She sets their old house on fire and rolls a gasoline-soaked red fabric toward town. After that, she declares she's no longer cursed and boards a train to leave her hometown for good. The movie ends after the town folks return and find Dungatar reduced to nothing but embers and ashes. Well, Tilly is definitely cursed.
Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on notifications and leave a like. It really helps the channel.